Okay, so I just want to also say thank you everyone for coming to this film. Some of you are from our CSA. We do have a local organic CSA, some of you may not be aware of, in Vero Beach. For those of you who want to take information and actually do something positive with what you learn and do something productive and not, just be people who know what's going on but don't know what to do about it. So, yes.
What is CSA?
CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and it's a way of farming and growing local organic vegetables with a group support system, so that if you don't know how to farm or you don't have the time to dedicate yourself personally to your own garden, you can work with a group of people. And in this particular past year, we've been doing it where people buy a share, and then for 4 hours, a minimum work requirement per month, which most people do in every other week, a 2-hour shift. And if you're a husband and wife, or some people have shared the share, and then really that amounts to just a minimum of coming out once a month for a 2-hour shift. But if you really wanted to learn how to do it properly, you should take advantage of the opportunity and come out as often as you can. And we are actually growing corn right now, so as we speak. No, it should be ready by near the end of May, and we may have something we're calling Harvest Days, where we actually have a little bit of a celebration festival event. And if any of you are not familiar, also with White Rabbit Organic Farm in Vero Beach, that's where it's held, and that's where this corn harvesting event, we're going to make it a little bit of a, party kind of thing, with animals involved. They have animals on the farm as well. So, when you do see this film, some of you may not be aware of how prevalent the corn is in our food system and how damaging it is. And even if you're eating meat and fish or chicken and you're saying, well, I'm not even eating corn, so that doesn't apply to me, those animals are being fed the corn, including salmon are being raised on corn. So you're still eating something that ate the corn. And I will say a statement at the end of the film. I don't want to hit it with you now because I want you to see the film and just know that there are several people in our community who are working calmly and positively to change the direction and not just be someone who is victimized and they don't know what to do or where to start. We're well started in this, and you can just come along with us and do what we're doing. And I do have cards up here that we have a website called planetorganicCSA.org, and you can learn classes we're teaching and different social events, community events, not just related to the farm, just like tonight is. It's just another way of people learning and educating themselves and not panicking if something does come along that does disrupt our food supply and how we are buying food, which is very likely. So this is just a way to do it ahead of time, calmly, and you're well prepared, and you don't get disturbed when there's a hurricane and we lose power and things like that. That's my objective, is to help the community calmly be prepared. So with that said, I will make a statement after the film, and we will have questions and answers and community conversation, and you can hear what each other's thoughts are. And for now, just sit back and enjoy a really good film.
Susan, see what she can do to answer or comment back or tell you more about the CSA that she's gotten organized here in Vero Beach. Anybody have a comment or a question?
Why is this room full?
Did you? Why is the room full, people?
Yeah, that was a pretty sobering film up there, right? If you haven't already been aware of that kind of thing.
What was the year that this film was made?
I was thinking that during the process, because they did show 2005. You have the copy up there?
Yeah, maybe John can tell us when he gets a chance to look at the DVD. But I noticed the Queen was 2004, the Queen of Green, Iowa.
Well, they had
So
definitely
probably made it in 5 or 6.
a building that said 2005.
There was a shot of the World Trade Center when they were in New York.
Oh,
Oh, in New York.
Yeah, you can see the World Trade Center from Brooklyn.
There was a year on the conference, I thought it said 205.
Yeah, 2005 was definitely shown on there. It was a couple years ago. It was pretty it was pretty rampant making the way around about a year ago. And that's when we kind of scheduled this, was almost a year ago, so.
Well, I thought it was pretty sad about the fact that these farmers that have lived on that land for generations are having to sell. And I just can't imagine what that equipment must cost, that big equipment. Now, these boys mentioned they rented the equipment, you know, that they needed to grow their acre of corn. But I just don't see how the farmers make it anymore.
Yeah, actually, small farms in this country is becoming an extinct species, they're saying, disappearing at the rate of like 30 farms every half hour, something like that.
The auction that they showed at the end, we see a lot of those auctions in northern Indiana where I spend my summers.
Yeah, what I personally thought was kind of shocking, or, you know, the farmers themselves seem to have no sensitivity to, you know, the quality of food. It's all about money, you know, which, yeah, they have to earn a living, but they just seem to not have the connection of why food is even important. There wasn't a lot of health talked about among the farmers, if you noticed. Anyone else have a comment?
This was 2006, but it might not be the original, it's just on here.
All right, that's probably right, because if they showed 2005, I'm sure they had it all wrapped up in that year, 2006.
I guess you wonder what's driving the business that causes it to be what we're seeing here. But it's us. It's everybody who goes to the store. What are they looking for? And they touched on it in the movie. People are looking for the cheapest food they can get. They don't care what's in it. And until we start caring what we're buying, if we cared about what we were buying, then one of the farmers said that. They would produce what people wanted. They're producing what people want. People want McDonald's. People want white bread. They want the cheapest junk that they can get, and that's what they're producing. If you want to look at, see where the problem is, look in the mirror.
That's very true. It's not necessarily blame the farmer. We're supplying the demand for that.
And did you catch that statistic? 1 in 8 people with adult diabetes? 1 in 8?
And actually, in children, it's becoming 1 in 3. 1 in 3 are at great risk in children now.
Michael Pollan,
Pollan.
is on this list of books, 2 books by him. He was in the film quite a bit. In fact, this is a bit of a microcosm of his book, The Omnivore's Dilemma. It hits on many of the same subjects.
Yeah, Michael Pollan, that was the thing I was going to quote after this, but he hit it pretty hard, but I'll repeat it again after this comment.
I was just going to say that I've read Michael Pollan's book, In Defense of Food. I would definitely recommend that. I haven't gotten to Omnivore's Dilemma, but definitely check out In Defense of Food first.
You know, I also do want to say that, yes, this is sobering, and yes, we see this problem, but as this gentleman here mentioned, you know, we don't have to feel powerless about it. It is an individual choice what you do choose to buy the food supply. And maybe you didn't know this before, but now you do. So if you do go in there, you know, read every label and look at the food and make a conscious, intelligent decision to not buy another product that contains high fructose corn syrup. Because it's not just a health problem, which, you know, everyone knows the whole world makes fun of America for how we look and how we eat. I mean, we are a laughing stock of the entire world. But it's also a planet sustainability problem. That is completely unsustainable agriculture. And in that sense, you know, the farmers are part of the irresponsibility. But, you know, because a lot of people don't know. They don't know that cows are fed that way. They don't know how cramped they're kept. And it's you know, it's a matter of doing things like attending films like this and digging below the surface and finding out how is your food produced, where is it coming from, what are the problems of those ingredients, you know, is that affecting more than just my health? And we are all very aware of what's going on on the planet this year. This year has been a major leap forward in spreading awareness. So, I mean, it's all over. Weather Channel especially is pretty good about all that green stuff now. And I mean, awareness really is rising pretty rapidly. But it's still, you know, even people in this room, I'm sure you're soda drinkers out there and are still going to continue to drink soda. And part of the problem is also that food is designed to be addictive, again, for the profit, for the money. And, you know, you just have to take control of it. You have to become self-empowered and use your willpower and choose what's, you know, going to be not just best for your bodies, but, I mean, it's just a choice. It's just a choice.
Well, I love your message and I appreciate you a lot, so thank you. I had a real argument once with a McDonald's executive. We were sitting next to each other on an airplane. She had a franchise in Texas, but she was kind of high up. And she says, look, we're just giving people what they want. And I said, no, you're not. You're making them want what you have. Because it's the power of advertising. But the good thing now is I saw Kentucky Fried Chicken was advertising the unfried chicken. I mean, it still has corn in it, but so at some point we can turn things around somewhat.
Well, Kentucky Fried Chicken is like the #1 chicken abusers, and I mean, so we don't want to go there, even if it's not fried. Big deal. Yeah.
I just learned last week about an organization called Meatless Monday, and you can find it on the internet, meatlessmonday.org, and what they're promoting is just one day a week, go meatless. It can make a huge difference.
I know, back in like the 40s, it used to be one day a week you would have meat. Now we're trying to miss one meal without meat. I mean, that's where the unsustainability is, all that corn being raised just to feed the animals. And if you didn't hear this before, an animal given a choice between regular organic corn and that kind of corn will never choose that corn. Wild deer in fields, 2 fields side by side, will never choose that genetically modified corn. And that, you know, they were referring to Liberty corn, but you know who they were talking about, right? It was Monsanto with the corn that's raised now where it has the pesticides built right in, it has the herbicides built right in, and herbicide resistance so that they could spray the whole field and that corn would still live. But they also have now super weeds have been created from the process of doing that. And what was supposed to be something that would save the farmers from having to pay for herbicides, they actually now have to use products stronger than Agent Orange, which was also invented by Monsanto. So the super weeds now have created a more enormous, more toxic pollution. Did someone have a...
I thought it was very significant that those 2 young men who are obviously well educated and ambitious and hardworking found out all this horror story about the corn and the beef, etc. But at the end of the film, they're still eating their hamburgers and drinking their sodas.
Were they doing that at the end of the film? I know they were doing that with Pretty Good Eves during the film. Were they at the very end?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that part. I know, well, it's true, like I just said, you know, I bet there's soda drinkers in here and you're still gonna go home and drink soda.
I'd like to point out that this is not just an American problem, that obesity is all around the world, especially in developing countries and especially in countries that have Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. The number of obese people in the world, obese and overweight people in the world exceeds the number of undernourished, hungry people by 500 million, which means that obesity is more of a public health problem today than is hunger. About 17%, about 16% of all deaths in this country are because of diet and exercise, lack of exercise. So it's a problem. It's not only a problem here, it's a problem around the world. The fattest people in the world are the Mexicans. Mexican women drink more soft drinks than any other population in the world.
I know, isn't it true though that most of those companies are from America?
Oh, absolutely. But you can see the power of advertising, global advertising.
Yeah, we've spread to affect everyone.
You go to a foreign country and it's not unusual. The first thing you see is either Coca-Cola or McDonald's.
But again, you know, we can all talk about the problems and the problems and the problems. My message in the beginning of this film was, okay, let's, you know, we know all that, you know, that's not a happy conversation. Now what are we going to do about it? How are you gonna make your individual choice changes? And you know, don't be so concerned about trying to change what other people are doing I mean, increasing awareness is a great thing, but people are still gonna make their decisions, and I think it's more important for you to make your own personal decision in the direction you wanna go and not worry about it. It's just impossible to change people's minds unless they're ready.
Well, you can change people's minds if you have a good public health program. Only 3% of medical spending in this country goes for prevention and public health. And yet you can do a lot through public health, a lot by nudging people in the appropriate direction. We don't make wise decisions regarding health, wealth, or happiness in this country. And this is the subject of a book entitled Nudge by Thayer and Sunstein, economists at the University of Chicago. One of them is an advisor to the president right now because he also taught at the University of Chicago. And there are many things that you can do to nudge people in the right direction, but you have to have the resources. And if we only spend 3% of our medical spending on prevention and public health, then you're not going to get very much.
I agree with, I'm sorry, I don't know.
My name's Susan Keiffer, for
Wait,
those
just
of
a
you
second.
who might have missed
We got
that.
the microphone here, I'll write that. Okay, go ahead.
Hi. Was ammonia part of the fertilizer?
What was that?
Ammonia, because I saw
Oh, the ammonia fertilizer, yeah.
in the fertilizer. So it made me think also the pesticides and the ammonia and everything, and we're ingesting all of this stuff too.
Absolutely, including the antibiotics, don't forget that.
I was learned the other day that there have been tests, or at least there was one test on lab rats who had been made addicted to heroin. And then they gave the rats a choice between heroin and sugar. And every one of them chose the sugar, which is more addictive.
Yeah, sugar is not a food. Sugar is a drug. It is more concentrated than cocaine. And it stimulates the same areas of the brain as cocaine, but it is more addictive, more concentrated.
I was saying, I agree with Susan that we should be solution-oriented, and I think there's two levels that we can work on. Is the governmental level, which is harder for, average people to do. And then there's another level, which is, your day-to-day life. And ways you can do that is start a garden, join a CSA, make yourself more aware, look at the ingredients of the food that you eat, and,
Actually, that's some of the best ways to change and influence people.
on a
It's
small
not by
scale.
our words,
Yeah,
but
not by
just
trying to
by
change
quietly eating the
Mhm.
healthy food and letting them see you eat without you ever saying a word.
Yeah, sometimes
Watching you choose water, a good
Yeah.
source of water over a soda, just watching what you do.
And
Instead of-
sometimes, it's by leading by example instead of forcing people to do something. If you show somebody, hey, look at this way of living. This is a beautiful way of living. Let's follow this example instead of forcing people. Sometimes that turns them away.
Absolutely.
Are you well educated about the Farm Bill? It just repassed in 2008, right?
Actually, if you wanted to speak on that, you can.
I don't remember if it's every 5 years, if it's every 10 years that they renew it. But I know that the organic growers tried really hard in 2008 when it was up for renewal to get more and more money to organic farms instead of the subsidies that keep going for more corn and more soybeans and that kind of thing. And they made a little gain, I think, but not a whole lot.
But actually, speaking of that though, there are more organic farms and CSAs and, locally growing your own, especially this year. So there is positive stuff happening.
I noticed in Publix that they have an organic food section, and the organic food is always more expensive than the other food. Why is that? Is it more expensive to, I guess I don't understand what organic is.
So what Michael says, the man on that film, He says the question isn't why is organic food more expensive, the question is why is the other food so cheap? That's the question. And the way that they make it, as they were showing, corn is the cheapest thing they can make, so corn is what's being fed to the animals instead of grass. And because they can feed the corn in such concentrated amounts, and the animals can be corralled in such small spaces, they don't need the large pastures. They can be more efficient with how many animals can, be fed in a small amount of space, and then sell that very inexpensive, cheap quality product to people who know. Everybody knows McDonald's no good for you. Everybody knows soda's no good for you. Like they were saying, we used to spend twice as much of our income on food, quality food, and instead, it's not that we don't have the money. If I looked at your food bills, this is what I say all the time, I bet I could find lots of areas you don't need to be spending things on potato chips or soda or, instead of the organic food, instead of choosing that. People who say they can't afford that, I can show you how you can afford that. On just what you spend on your bill, just by eliminating items that are not going to give you that nutrition, that are just wasting your money, that are just because of whatever addictions or habits that you have, that have nothing to do with food quality. Did someone else have a comment?
This is such a complex thing. I mean, I got my master's in nutrition about, 30 years ago, and then I'm now a doctor, and then I gave that up. Now I'm doing hypnosis for weight loss, for heaven's sakes. Because, I have to believe there's a really strong lobby from the pharmaceutical companies. And I had drug reps regularly calling at my office to get me to push their diabetes drugs. But Medicare will not pay for nutritional counseling. So that's pretty depressing. But on the positive side, they've outlawed a lot of sodas from schools.
Yeah.
They're now mandating that they give nutrition information, I think, for most fast food restaurants. And a lot of people are choosing bottled water. Now, I don't really like the bottles, but it's bottled water over soda. It's in the machine. So I think there's change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, there used to be public service announcements against tobacco, remember? Okay. So the tobacco consumption, I think, in this country has gone down. And the rest of the world is following suit. So
it is true. We are definitely in a healthier trend. Just no smoking in buildings, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
So maybe we've reached the crisis for obesity, and maybe we'll turn the corner, and maybe other countries will follow suit.
And absolutely, even just this past year, so much awareness has been raised, and it's the farmer, home grower. I mean, that has jumped enormously in just this past year. So absolutely, we are on the upswing in terms of fighting back and not just sitting there, in our recliners watching commercials on TV and, and not thinking about what we're eating anymore. I think absolutely a lot has improved. And just the fact that Publix does carry organic food. I mean, and Home Depot carries organic fertilizers and organic gardening things that were not present 3 years ago. I mean, so we definitely are going a long way. And it's just a matter of, staying aware of these things, continuing. It is a fight. You know what? This is a war. This is an absolute war on health. And as you're saying, the pharmaceutical companies and all that. But again, we can't just blame them. That would be saying we're powerless and we don't have any choices. We absolutely do have choices, and they're doing what they can for money. But people can become powerful. You don't have to be powerless.
I just want to add another comment. I was standing in the grocery line one day, and I was buying, I think it was a gallon or a container of organic milk, and the person behind me in the line said, "Why are you buying that? It costs so much more than the other stuff. I can buy this other container for less than half that price." I said, "Well, you got to pay for what you don't get." She just was a little expression on her face. I said, "Well, I don't want milk from an animal that's been given recombinant bovine growth hormone. I don't want the antibiotics that they've been pumping into that cow. And you got to pay for for what you don't get. And you have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and more people are becoming aware and, spreading little things like that. But again, I think among your family and friends, who is your first center of influence, just by making your own choices silently and them seeing what you're doing and maybe watching you get younger and younger and, healthier and more vibrant by, going steadily more into the healthier choices. And just that alone, as they might be getting sicker and sicker, is a turning point for some people, without saying a word.
I think it's important to note that the food pyramid, which we've all seen, is put out by the Department of Agriculture. And what is the function of the Department of Agriculture? To promote the production of food. This is covered in great detail in Walter Willett's book. Now, Walter Willett, we saw, he was the professor from the Harvard School of Public Health. He has a book which has been out and through several editions now called Eat, Drink, and Be Healthy. And he gives you a healthy food pyramid, which is based on the available science today and not on the production of food. The food pyramid really should be a product of the Department of Health and Human Services, not a product of the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's what they teach in the schools, and the kids take it as gospel, and, I have to. Actually, speaking of schools, I'm about to begin a community garden project at Treasure Coast Elementary, who this past year did a little student garden, but they want to expand on that. And we have a new green middle school being built and will be available and ready for enrollment for this fall coming up. And I'm planning to approach them as well. And so even just re-educating the children on where food really comes from and how to grow it and see it being grown and taste it right out of the field without the chemicals and the pesticides. And that's the movement that I'm working on passionately. And then in that realm, when the kids learn it and you teach it at that level, it's very easy for the adults to go right along with it and hopefully then teach the healthy recipes and I mean, because kids can learn, so it's just a matter of what do you want to put, what do you want to be teaching them. And it is a system, but it's falling apart. It is falling apart. As strong lobbying as there are, especially with Monsanto and pharmaceutical companies, there's definitely a growing underground movement, and this is the direction we are absolutely going in.
I'm sure Susan will stay for a minute if any of you want to talk to her about the CSA or any other issues in education. Susan, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for all that you do in the community.
And I did have a sign-up sheet. If anybody did want to continue to receive emails, and if you're not on my email list, there are different things we do. One of them we're doing actually on May 17th is visiting an edible permaculture man-made rainforest system for a guy who just 30 years ago started planting little baby trees on 2.5 acres of white sandy soil and is now, full-grown, self-sustaining rainforest with edible trees. You just walk back in your yard and get whatever you need. He never fertilizes. He never has to do any pest control because the whole system is symbiotic and it works together. And that's the direction that's the latest, hottest wave is getting even past just sustainable agriculture going into permaculture. If you haven't heard that word, which is permanent agriculture, meaning it requires less and less labor as it grows because it starts taking life of its own. And instead of planting ornamental trees, begin planting edible trees in your yard. That is the trend. Food, Not Lawns is a great book if you haven't read that one. Food, Not Lawns. All right, so if anybody, didn't sign up that sheet, you want to be made aware of these things, please feel free to do that. And I thank you again for coming and for keeping yourselves educated.
Don't forget the Fair Trade Corner is open for half an hour, and I hope you'll all come back on June 7th to hear the lecture about the green economy.
May 6th. Corn is definitely forming. Pretty thick, pretty good size. Lots of pollen. About 5 feet tall they are in the first planting. Here's a bean plant going pretty high up on this one, all the way up to the top. Flowers on the beans. Second staggered planting at the same day. The other bed, not quite as close together. That's Brian and Valerie's. And the third planting is actually much closer. Corn wasn't thinned out, it looks like. Kept every bit of it. Much tighter. Mine and Valerie's. And this is Robert's. Ears of corn every place. No thinning was done here. Broccoli still lots of leaves and heads, doing well. May 6th. Temperature has gotten to 86 degrees in the daytimes now, just this week. Started to be 86 in the day and 68 at nighttime, and it won't go down from here on in. It's going to be 89 tomorrow, 89 on Saturday the next day. Potatoes probably ready to harvest. Then they'll be done. Definitely broccoli heads. Watermelon after about a month. And the arugula that reseeded itself about this high. The seeds still not all brown. Dandelion, there's the arugula that's reseeded itself. And a lot of arugula over on this side that reseeded itself from the original planting. All out there. This mix still alive and not looking bad. On May 6th, 86 degree temperature. Dandelion still looking really great. Collards are enormous, absolutely enormous. Something's eating broccoli leaves, enormous collard leaves. Mellow does not like the heat, he's suffering. And so is the blue flax. Drying out, does not like the heat. Zinnias have bloomed in the backyard garden. Huge patty pan down here. What is that?
It's a beetle in there. I think it's a type of a stink bug.
Huh.
He's just chowing down.
Wow.
He doesn't care.
So how are the strawberries looking with the heat?
They're producing more now than any time crop. This first row.
Wow.
This first row. But I did wait 3 days. Last time I picked was Monday. So I probably could have picked yesterday because there is some waste.
Wow.
But there's tons of them still.
I know, I just made this drink today with frozen strawberries because that's all I wasn't here. And I was like, I need to get out there and get the real thing.
Yeah. This is one row.
Huh.
So it probably has at least twice that much.
How long do you think, do you have any idea how the heat will affect them?
Val said that they'd be gone by now, but...
Right, I know. At our potluck on the 19th, which was almost 3 weeks ago, she said 2 weeks more at the most.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's up the dryness. It hadn't started raining yet, you know?
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Or are you going to put these in the refrigerator?
I'm going to put them in the hanger and weigh them. I think is there a crew today?
At 2:30.
Oh, okay. I might just put them in the hanger.
Yeah, because they're so much better like this, you know?
I can leave them in the hanger.
Sure, for a little bit. We can put a sign, if you don't take them, put them in the cooler.
Yeah, that's what we did last time.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
There was a big crew out here Sunday.
Oh, really? Excellent.
And a lot of people got them. The best are these little ones that look like when they're warm, they taste like strawberry jam when you
I know, you must sit out here and just pick and eat, right?
So good.
I know, these are phenomenal. Really phenomenal. They're so much better than even the beginning, right? It's like their best they've ever been.
Pretty good. You gotta get them right at the right stage, you know. A little bit rare like that is still pretty sour.
Right,
right. You get them real dark red. They're so sweet. Sugar.
Yeah, I'm gonna go water the trees with the solar system we hooked up.
Oh, did you?
Well, with a hose.
Slatted 1x2s. Put them right at the base of each plant, and then folded them in, screwed them together. There's like 10 of them, I think, and they come up like a teepee. I wrapped rope around it, painted it green.
For
and
cucumbers?
I'm training them to run up because.
Wow. You know what? I looked at 2 pallets I had leaning against each other, standing up, and I was like,
yeah,
there's my cucumber trellis.
Because I'm limited, of course, my backyard, my house. The circle's maybe 5 feet across radius, so it's not very big. So I got, instead of growing out, you know, they got to go up.
Right.
So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I definitely think growing them up is the way to do it.
But they like going out because I've trained them, you know, up the trellis, and then they try to go back down and sideways. They like sideways. But they'll do it. They got those little those little feeler things, you know, that they wrap around.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wrap it around. They wrap around each other.
Yeah. So let me just ask you a more broader question about this season, which is the whole purpose that I had was so people would come out here and, you know, have this year to learn how to do this so you could do it at home. And so since you're growing a backyard garden out at home, how much of that would you say is because of working here?
100%. I would have never done that. You know, I wouldn't have known how, I wouldn't have even figured out how to kill the grass to start the garden and the dirt, you know. I imported a lot of Bryant's organic dirt, you know, because the dirt is an old orange grove and it's pretty sandy. Not much
So you never tried before?
No, I've grown little things on the side, broccoli. Nothing really productive. Though.
Did you see like Robert's garden? You know, he took like black cow, peat moss, the chicken fertilizer. Oh, you were there for that class, right? So that just shows you that, you know, you don't really need all the, I mean, in a small area you could afford to add those kinds of things, but, so do you think you're going to work in a group next year or just do your own?
Oh yeah, I'll work out here.
And do your own?
Yeah, probably. I started in the spring with this crop, like the summer crop. So I would like to start in the fall for the winter vegetables and fruits, like tomatoes. I don't have tomatoes growing.
Like if you had more room, would you still work here or would you just make it all at home?
What do you mean by how much room? As much as this?
That's, you know, bigger, 20 by 50.
I'll probably still come out here. Sure.
Because you like, just like being in a group?
Yeah. You can see so many different crops, you know.
Yeah, right.
They grow. I don't have nearly as much sun. I think that's why they're not as fast growing as Brian's. Like Brian's got watermelons everywhere. He's big already.
Over there?
We planted over here.
Oh.
We planted at the same time. Mine about this big.
Oh.
Only because I get from about 10 in the morning until about 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Well, here it's 6 to.
But soil
7.
definitely makes a difference. There's 3 kinds of soil, and you could see the difference in heights, like the backyard garden, you know, the regular field, and then where the corn is now actually got the least fertilizer. Right. But they added it, so it's dark green again. But how about the distance? Like, how does that affect you? I have to come here to get the food. It's not bad at all.
I'm 5 minutes away.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably one reason I'm not here so much.
Like, what if there was no gas though, and you didn't have transportation? Would that be a problem?
Well, I'd probably be out here less, but I would probably try to find a way. And you know, we rode our bikes out here Earth Day, and it wasn't bad.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Bikes are fun.
6th, and the tomatoes are still green. They absolutely overcame whatever that systemic disease was they had, and they're still producing. Still lots of cherry tomatoes. Still looking pretty healthy. Persimmon tree is still alive after all. It looked dead, but obviously it's not. Being watered with the solar power. Our Indian display village, and our corn after 1 month, a lot shorter than at the farm, but producing pollen. Okay.
He almost looks real, huh?
Yeah, they're supposed to stay there.
What do we have to do?
We're going to be making wristbands.
We're making bracelets. May 12th, and it looks like potatoes are being dug up. Hey, digging out the potatoes?
We got some regular rooters here.
Yeah.
For all kinds of stuff.
The whole thing you're doing?
I don't know. We're gonna see how far we can make it.
Yeah.
But we're harvesting potato beetles too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going into the lake.
They're in the dirt or on the leaves?
Look at that spider. Both. We found some in the ground.
Oh.
I don't know whether they
really?
fell there.
Underneath the dirt?
Yeah, right in the ground, and then some on the leaf.
There's a little bit of a spider.
Oh, what's there?
Ooh, it is. Yeah, right there. Ooh, he's got eggs.
A spider with eggs. Spiders
Whoa.
are actually good guys in the garden.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
Don't touch it.
They don't eat the plants, they eat bugs.
Oh, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You sure brought that big one here.
Wow.
Hey, Ada, don't mess with me.
Yeah, so this is...
Don't touch. He's got babies. Don't touch.
Oh, yeah.
He's got babies. You love babies, don't you?
This will be the last of the potatoes, I guess.
Look at guys.
Yeah.
It's the Easter egg hunt. Whoa, daddy load.
Wow. Good job. Is this your first time doing potatoes?
When I first started, I did them.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Right. I
So,
remember that.
But it's been a while, so.
Yep. And they go all the way down to the end. Behind that broccoli, there's another row.
Oh, okay.
Which, actually, I'll go down and check that out. Some of them we did do the other day.
Yeah,
But,
I saw yesterday Sherry harvested some too.
okay, yeah, so they're...
I think she just did like they did a little bit here and then...
So she's not coming out this morning?
I don't think so.
I guess not if they
I kinda
came
think,
yesterday.
Oh, man.
All right, let me go check out the rest.
I was trying to tell him all the stuff he told us about the cattails, but
Oh,
much got lost in
here
interpretation.
is the end of the row. A whole bunch more needing to be done. Potatoes. Cabbage, it looks like, May 12th. Get some cabbage. Broccoli's getting way eaten up, but lots of broccoli heads. Squash. Cucumbers, actually. Tomatoes, still producing well. Still doing well. Collards looking all dead, dried out. Chard is still doing awesome over there. Chard's still looking healthy, not damaged by the heat. And the corn is getting bigger ears. Turning a little more gold on the tassels. Tomatoes, leaves still fine, but no more flowers. I guess maybe tomatoes on this side of the road anyway are nearing the end. Not as many. Still very green, leaves very healthy though. And look what we have here. A little baby nest of birds. Right in the tomatoes. Little babies. You're waiting for your mommy? Yeah. Right in the tomatoes. Our permaculture nature symbiosis. That mommy? Come on. Four little babies are hiding now. They had their mouths open.
Yeah, and their eyes are still closed.
But now they're hiding.
There are four of them?
Yeah. So you remember when in the beginning, I remember like you coming here and wanting to join the CSA and Bill was in your car and he didn't want to get out of the car?
I know.
And you were like, he just wasn't interested, you remember?
This is his personality.
But now, you know, he's way into
yeah,
it.
he's into it. Well, he's got a lot more time on his hands.
No, but he said, you know, I was talking to him last week and he's like talking about the garden he's doing at your house and...
We've got honeydew and watermelon. We had green beans and salad from our garden at home last night. We've got a couple strawberries growing there. And you know, and the neighbors, we live in a gated community and I'm on the board just kind of by default because I was there one night. And I like looked through, I'm like, is there anything against it? And I was like, you know,
yeah.
You know, if there is. But I didn't see anything against gardens, and I'm like, how could it not be beautiful, you know? So.
Did you see that one email I sent with the California people who turned their front yard into
Taylor showed me that like
garden?
before the CSA even. Yeah.
They just had this little strip between the sidewalk and their yard, and even that became this huge trellis thing.
And I'm sure some crappy people are like, it's like, okay, go eat your crappy food from Publix, you know? But it's cool. I mean, Abby, the other day we were eating some shelled peanuts and she's like, how do these grow, Mommy? And if we hadn't ever done this, she wouldn't have ever.
I was thinking too, oh, I should have planted some peanuts because there's a garden at the Gifford Community Center. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I've heard about.
Have you
where the
been?
kids
They
work
have a
after
whole
school.
peanut-shaped peanut bed.
Uh-huh.
And every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, the kids after school go and they work their little lot and they get to take home their little things.
That's really cool.
But they planted a peanut bed and we should have planted it because then the kids could have pulled up peanuts.
Uh-huh.
And the cotton plant is coming up over there, but it's very small. I don't know if it'll make it. But that would be cool too to show cotton and the peanuts. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's I mean the kids are excited. They go out in the backyard and it's like every day. I mean it's practically you can sit there and watch this stuff grow. And you know Bill had gotten some good chicken stuff here and you really don't want to stand downwind from the garden, but you know
Yeah,
it's growing.
I know. It's
crazy.
definitely fun to pick your own stuff in your own yard.
Yeah.
That definitely was the goal, is to inspire people to want this in your own yard, you know.
Mhm. Well, and our neighbors who are, you know, very mainstream are like, wow, that's really cool. So now they're trying to at least do some pot stuff and grow some stuff. And
Yeah.
So it's been an experience, and you know, and I hope Bill's like, well, I don't know that I'm going to do this next year, but he's just a crabby Bill, you know.
Well, I asked him last week, and he's like, oh yeah, definitely. And I said, well.
Did he say that to you?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because I said, well, if you're having a garden at home, would you still want to work in a group? And he's like, yeah, I would want to do both, is what he said.
Yeah. Well, because you learn stuff, and you know.
Yeah.
Because now actually our zucchini and our squash are full of worms.
Yeah, that's what he
So,
was saying.
Yeah, so he's working on that, but.
This is another baby bird nest in our other cherry tomatoes in the children's garden. The birds are making nests in the tomatoes. How cool is that? Amazing. Right at the end of our field, there's the rest of our field. And in the children's garden, little baby birds.
This is anyway. I was telling. Look at each of the segments in the pineapple. They're see the baby flowers. Aren't those cute? And
oh,
so
wow.
when they're flowering, those will eventually become a segment of the pineapple.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that neat?
So is that the youngest stage when the flowers?
Well, that's not the youngest stage, but we might. Let's walk down here and see if we can.
So
find
effectively, the pineapple really is the flower.
Oh, absolutely. See, there's one in an early stage. Wow. And look how beautiful this one is. And see how they're, as they mature, see where there are no more flowers, how they're just segments?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that neat how they were at one time flowers?
Yeah. Wow.
But that's okay.
You don't have any irrigation out here?
Well, yeah, but you know what? I let nature, I believe in the strong will survive, and I try not to water them because that can cause disease.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a young flower, but
takes 2 years for
that's about
pineapples
right.
to
That's about
mature,
right.
is that correct?
You can push them and get some at 16 months.
None yet.
I can't find any, but there'll be some coming on. When it cools off and we should get a couple weeks of cool weather, which means rain or overcast, it'll false a bunch of them into flowering.
Nothing yet.
Oh, wow. Wow.
What did you say? Cool weather and rain will cause a bunch to flower?
Well, yeah. See, the ones that didn't flower, a lot of them they'll do a mid bloom, and they'll flower instead of flowering in January or December, they'll flower in March or April.
Huh.
I can't find any.
Are there any rakes yet?
No, there's not. But in June or July there'll be a bunch. Yeah. I was wanting to show you the earlier stage, but.
Oh, before the one way back there?
Right. Yeah. Because see, before the purple flowers, there's like a red. It's like a circle, like a golf ball, and it's got red prongs. It's beautiful.
Huh.
And then it starts to grow, and then it starts to flower into the purple flower. But it's it's got a bunch of baby prongs when it first starts. And
So all these bloom at different stages then?
Well, generally they should bloom in January or December. But then again, if you have the seasons, the drought, the water, all those things play a role, and which will be good because there's nobody in town in July and August. So if I get a late bloom, they'll be ripening instead of July and August. They'll be ripening, say, December, January. So we'll see, and I'm still trying to learn about false flowering them, because if I could false the whole garden and strategically get my crop at the best time would be, because nobody's here in July. I mean, you know, everybody's back up north. But,
So these were all planted like 2 years ago?
Actually, I planted these 4 years ago.
Oh.
I think. I got it written
From
down
what?
in my
Like
book.
pineapple tops?
Browns.
From like a store?
Mm-hmm.
Like Publix or something?
Well, from everywhere, anywhere I could get pineapple tops. Winn-Dixie, Publix, Albertsons.
Once you get a fruit off of a plant, will it fruit again? I mean,
Oh, certainly. Let me. You want me to show you something?
Sure.
You want to? You got that on?
Yeah.
You see these?
Yes.
These are suckers, and there's 3 new plants right here. Actually, if you count this crown, this is a sucker. That's a new plant. That's a baby plant, and this is a slip. This big one here.
Okay.
So that each plant reproduces every year. So actually, they thrive.
For how long will they reproduce?
Well, they'll do that. They'll do that for years and years.
Really?
But the quality and the size of the pineapple supposedly goes down each following year. But I believe that can be altered with water and fertilizer.
So how are you avoiding the raccoons?
I just trap them.
Oh, you have
See,
traps out here?
they don't start getting infested in here until they start to ripen. And when they get that sweet smell, it's like a pine borer that smells sap in a pine forest. They can smell it for miles and miles.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And then they tell
that's
all their
how they
buddies.
infest, or that's how they travel. They go by the smell. A pine borer, if they smell pine sap, they'll go to it, and then they infest and they kill that area. And then when it's diseased or it's dead, or that's how they migrate, is the smell of sap.
So you're saying there's like 10,000 in all the rows together?
No, there's probably like 5,000, maybe 6,000 in these 3 rows here.
Wow.
But I'm planting them closer together as I go.
How many do you think are in each row is 2,000?
Well, it's 800 feet to the end, and I plant them every foot, so there's 800 each side. So 1,600 for each double row. So 16, 32, 4,800.
Wow.
There's 4,800 plants here.
Yeah, very.
And that's my old planting that I neglected. But it's one wonderful thing. Anything that'll survive 9 months of neglect and no water, and it's still alive, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of tolerance. They're very wind tolerant.
Well, yeah, this was one of the earliest things people in Florida grew, right? Pineapples, because they were.
Salt. They're tolerant to salt environment. Salty winds don't really bother or damage the foliage. So they're a good vigorous plant. They like tropical conditions, but they don't like cold, and they don't like soil that's not well drained.
So the only reason these are flowering up here versus down there is because they're what, younger?
It's just, that's right. They're flowering at different times. Now last year I had a uniform bloom, and there was a pineapple on every plant last year. And they were all uniform. They all bloomed about the same time. Within 2 or 3 weeks they were all the same.
Huh.
Wow.
Very interesting.
So much for the educational footage. Huh? You guys are supposed to be over in the yard now. What's going on here? Is this supposed to be nature farm? All right, now let's go. Come on. Let's all get back over here where we belong. Back. Come on. Let's go.
So are they yours?
We got some wild geese on our hands. Back.
Are those yours?
Huh?
Are they yours?
No, those are Elijah's, the boys.
Oh.
Where's Joe at, Elijah? Aren't they cute?
There they go. May 12th. And this is how tall the corn is. Tallest Sammy is. How tall are you? We don't know.
Taller.
And there's the corn down at the bottom there. See it? Don't pick it though.
This one might be ready.
No, this is what happens. The tops here, up here, they fall down when they get dry and they land on the tassels. Whoops. Make sure they land on the tassels, and that's how.
Like that?
Yep, you fertilize corn and it grows ears of corn. All right, let me show you the baby birds. Birds are gone after just yesterday. They were just in there. They're gone. I wonder if some birds are still over here on this side.
That was the mother bird.
That's the mother. See them? They're hiding because they don't want anyone to know. See, corn is on the other side of the street, 3 weeks younger than what's on the other side. No ears or pollen forming yet, but much darker green. And this is where the chicken tractor had been fertilizing all this time. And this corn is much, much darker green. Oh, here's some tops just coming out now. So this is a much hardier, healthier looking, taller corn than what's growing on the other side. And this again is about 3 weeks younger. Watermelon, or actually cantaloupe. Cantaloupes. This is what watermelon leaves look like. Start trailing out.